I'm Joseph Brooks, and this is Lawyer in the Kitchen. Welcome to Lawyer in the Kitchen. Tonight we're going to make homemade pizza. Now a lot of people make homemade pizza, and you can actually go to the store and get crusts made, but we're going to make our own crusts. I got the name of the recipe I'm using is from Sugar Spun Run. What's good about this recipe is if you're like most of us, you don't think about, oh, it's pizza night until it's 30 minutes before pizza night. And what's good about this crust is that you can make it in about 45 minutes and be ready to put it in the oven or on a grill or however you're going to cook it. Tonight we're going to make pizza with my family. Bacon, chicken, sausage, sometimes we have hamburger. 2 kinds of peppers here, 2 different colors, some jalapenos, garlic will go in some sauce, some pepperoni, and some artichokes, black olives, and we're going to make our own sauces. For the Alfredo sauce, we're going to use cream, butter, garlic, and a big thing of Parmesan. And we have all assorted cheeses, of course. I made my own sauce. And the ingredients for my own sauce is right on the back here. That one's not true. The Alfredo, though, is. So what we're going to do is start cutting everything up. And what I like to do is these little containers that the mushrooms come in, these are actually perfect. I save these for pizza night, because I cut up all of the things, I put them over here on the counter, we wipe everything off of here, everybody makes their own pizza, they put what they want it, what their sauce is, whatever they prefer, and then they pick out all of the ingredients that they want on their pizza, and we put them in these little containers. And this works pretty good. So let's start cutting up some things. First, let's do the chicken, and always season, okay? Even for pizza, we season the chicken. This is nice. I like to leave it in the container and touch it as little as possible. A little salt, a little fresh cracked pepper. We turn on the heat, let this get a little, I like to see the burner and see how hot it's going to be. I've got some olive oil in there. I've got another pan because I'm going to cook the sausage in here. I'm going to keep things going that we're going to actually heat up first. Okay, we're going to season the other side of the chicken after we put it in the pan. This oil is shimmering nicely. And it's a nice sizzle. It's what we want. It'll brown nicely. As soon as it starts to brown, we're going to actually turn this over and cook this chicken nice and slow so it's not going to be tough. Now, I got to tell you, chicken breasts, in my opinion, that's probably the hardest thing on the earth to cook. And these will be okay, but they're not going to be great. I don't cook them great. This is hot Italian sausage. I like this. I like to cook it. Some people put it on the pizza raw. I don't cook it completely done. It's very close, but I don't cook it completely done. Unlike the chicken, something we want to brown. Okay, it's time to turn that down, by the way, now that I'm talking about it. I like to look at that flame. And let's get it down here where it's not cooking too hot. And then this we can go ahead and put on. Have a look at that. Just flip it over. Take the paper off. We don't want it that hot though, so we're going to turn it down. And as soon as it starts to cook, we'll start breaking it up. All right, these look just about ready to flip over. Let's have a look. That's nice. I'm happy with that. And that's good too. And the heat's low, and that's nice and brown. And of course over here we have Kelsey's mushrooms, because Kelsey's going to be here tonight with my grandchild. I can't wait. All right, it's about time to start breaking this up. We're not going to make this real fine. We're going to break it up into smaller pieces. We are going to save this juice because we're going to make our Alfredo sauce right here in this pan, and this will already have the chicken flavor, and this is a good way to start the Alfredo sauce. Good taste, good flavor, And as I refer to this residue on the pot, in the pan, it's called fond, which is an interesting word. I actually heard Jeffrey Zakarian use that word in Tallahassee a couple of weeks ago. I thought that was interesting because it's the only time I've heard anybody on the Food Channel actually say that word. All right, the sausage is done enough. We won't put this in a plastic one. We're going to put this in a bowl. Anything that's hot, obviously, is not going to go into those plastic mushroom things. All right, so let's go ahead and see how much of this we can drop on the floor. All right, so sometimes I use prosciutto. I've got, my kids don't like it that much, so I'm just going to make some, and her. So I'm going to make some bacon. And I've decided tonight that I'm actually going to turn the burner on. Even though the pan's already kind of warm. I like to cook this slowly, though. I mean, really very, very crisp. All right, let's check our chicken. That's looking pretty good. At this point, I'm going to turn it back over. That's nice and crisp. I'm actually going to add a little water to it. And I'm going to cover it. And tonight we're having flambe chicken. I like the flambe. I never do it like that, but this time. Last piece of bacon is nice and crispy. And now we're going to take advantage of this grease. Ain't nothing like bacon fat. Sounds like a Zac Brown song, really. These are plenty done. We don't want to cook them. We just want to get them started, have a little flavor in the juice, let them sit in the juice. We'll let this cool down, and that's it. All right, now after we've washed our peppers, and we've got a green, red, and some jalapenos, we're going to cut these. There's a million ways to cut these. This is kind of fast. Here's a bad spot. Just cut that out right now and be over with it. All right, before we make the dough, the final thing to do is make the Alfredo sauce, which is kind of simple. We're going to take all of the juice from the chicken as our base. We're going to add a stick of unsalted butter, about almost a whole head of garlic, and 1 pint of cream, and then Parmesan cheese. Get a decent Parmesan to make this with, and then thicken it up until you get to where you are with the cheese. And that will be the thickening agent. And this will be a great Alfredo sauce. Okay, now we're going to make the dough. This is a great dough. As I mentioned earlier, this is from Sugar Spun Run. I think this is one of the best recipes because you can make it very close in time to when you're actually going to cook. It's only about a 30-minute resting period. And it rolls out very easily. It makes a very crispy dough. Now, they call for bread flour, all-purpose. I got this flour. This is actually from Italy. This is double aught pizzeria flour, and that's what we're going to use. But the bread flour would be good. All-purpose flour would be good. We're going to first get our yeast going. You don't have to do this, but I like to because it gets it to temperature first. So what we're going to do is turn the hot water on, and we're going to check this temperature. And we're getting an idea where we are. So right now we're about 114, 118, which is too hot. So we can turn this down. We want to be between 105 and 115 for this yeast. That's 111 right there, 112. We'll put it in here and see what we get. You can always let it cool down. And we're looking for 3/4 of a cup. That matters because this water is actually going to go in the dough. We're going to check this temperature now. We're at 111. That's good. It's definitely below, so we're fine. And we just stir this around. Now, meanwhile, we'll put the dry ingredients together. We know the temperature's good. That's going to work. So we're looking for, to begin with, 2 to 2.5 cups of this flour, but we're going to start off with 1 cup to begin with, which is about that. The other dry ingredients are, and I'm looking at this, 1.5 teaspoons, or excuse me, 1.5 teaspoons of sugar. I'm using one of these packets of natural sweetener. 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. If we go with a 1/2 teaspoon, it's going to be one of those and about a 1/2. That's good. Then we're going to put in a little bit of basil, a little bit of garlic, granulated garlic powder, and then we're going to start stirring this up. And then we're looking at the oil. This matters. This needs to be right. And it's 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Now, this is baking. I don't bake, so I have to measure this stuff. And as I understand, bakers do measure, so that we're actually going to do that. Now, I got to consider that I'm coating the measuring cup or measuring spoon, whatever it is. So I'm going to put a little bit more to make up for that. So we have all the dry ingredients, everything's mixed. We're going to need a spatula to kind of move that around, and it's time to put in, and I would stir this around again because some of that yeast will settle. As you can see, now we're going to have to add just a little bit of water just to get that out of there. We want all that yeast in there. And then we're just going to scoop this down on the sides a little bit. And now we're going to add another full cup of the flour. And we may need a little bit more. What's interesting about this dough is that it's not going to be completely in a ball. It's going to be very sticky. And that's part of the reason why it works so fast. In fact, this is a very sticky dough. All right, at this point, we're just going to let it work some. It's beginning to get there. You may have to add a little bit more water. That's okay. In fact, we're going to do that. But we're not going to add any more flour at this point. That's actually looking just about right. This is still not like a dough ball you would normally see in most doughs that are made for bread or for pizza, other pizza. This is still thin, but this is done. Okay, so this is very sticky, okay? That's the difference in this dough. You want it to be completely covered with olive oil. Okay, we're going to seal this with plastic wrap. There's 1,000 ways to do plastic wrap, and this seems to work for me the best. You just leave a little crimping, you got an edge. It's good, you can use it again. The boxes never work. Like I said, I had this oven, it's just barely warm. This is going to sit and rest for 30 minutes, and then we'll slice this in half. This will make 2 12-inch pizzas. Well, unusually, this is one of the first pizzas in the Brooks household to actually make it out of the yard. I'm happy with it. All right, that's not a good look for the video.
I'm not photogenic.
Olivia, when it's not about photogenic, it's about whether you like it or not. Is this good pizza or not?
Yes.
Is this good pizza or not?
Yes.
Jeremy?
It's delicious.
Very good.
I couldn't do this.
Okay. Kelsey Lynn?
Yeah.
Good pizza or not?
So good.
I don't think you've had it. Did
I
you taste it?
haven't. Not yet.
Well, that's okay. At least you're loyal. Appreciate that. Okay.
Nice.
So, how's the pizza, Miss Brooks?
We don't care about the pizza, we have the baby.